Guangdong Province was suddenly struck by an intense and violent storm system, bringing torrential rain, destructive typhoon-level winds, and dramatic temperature drops. On March 15th, the powerful storm swept through multiple cities, including Shenzhen, Shaoguan, Qingyuan, and Zhaoqing, turning busy urban streets into chaotic scenes of flooding, flying debris, and plunging visibility. The sky, which had been relatively clear earlier in the day, darkened within moments as thick storm clouds rolled in, creating an apocalyptic atmosphere that left residents in shock.
哎呀，会吓死人！
The storm arrived with little warning, catching many people off guard. The strong winds tore through residential neighborhoods and business districts alike, sending objects tumbling through the streets. Trees were uprooted and flung across roads, while weakly secured structures such as roadside tents, temporary market stalls, and advertising billboards were ripped apart and scattered like paper. In rural areas, agricultural lands were battered by fierce gusts, damaging crops and infrastructure. Reports from various districts mention instances of metal rooftops being peeled away by the winds, leaving homes and businesses exposed to the driving rain.
Wow. 深圳市怎么了？我靠！我靠！那个什么倒了？
广告牌，跟那个。
现在这个风很大，我靠！
防护的。
我靠，好吓人啊！
他不走了。
对对，很危险，刚刚。哎呦，都被我记录下来了。
In Shenzhen, one of the hardest hit areas, the storm's impact was particularly severe. Many commuters, caught in the storm during rush hour, found themselves stranded as taxi and ride-hailing services became overwhelmed with requests. Pedestrians fought against the forceful winds and relentless rain, desperately trying to find shelter. Those caught in open areas had difficulty moving forward, as gusts exceeding typhoon strength made it nearly impossible to walk. In some districts, roadside banquet tents set up for events were completely blown over, with tables, chairs, and decorations swept away in the storm. Many outdoor food vendors and market stalls suffered heavy losses, as goods were drenched and structures were destroyed.
今日嚟飲酒啊！真係好大風好大水喎，真係好風水啊！
The storm not only impacted the urban landscape, but also had severe effects on coastal areas. Along Shenzhen Bay and other waterfront locations, massive waves were churned up by the howling winds, slamming against the shore. The authorities issued immediate warnings for people to stay away from coastal areas due to the risk of storm surges and dangerously strong currents. The intensity of the storm also triggered power outages in multiple districts. Entire neighborhoods were plunged into darkness as electrical infrastructure was damaged by falling debris and strong winds. Reports emerged of utility poles snapping in half and transformers exploding due to water damage. Local authorities worked rapidly to restore power, but in some areas, outages lasted for several hours, leaving thousands without electricity during the peak of the storm. As the storm continued into late afternoon and evening, emergency services were stretched thin, responding to a rising number of incidents. Authorities urged residents to remain indoors and avoid unnecessary travel, warning that road conditions were hazardous, and further heavy rainfall was expected. Many residents expressed shock at the sudden and extreme nature of the storm, noting that while Guangdong is no stranger to heavy rains, the intensity and speed at which the storm developed were alarming.